Hey everybody. Still really uncomfortable filming. The first time I sat down and filmed, I sat down in one day and filmed enough for a week, but I want to be authentic and real, especially if I have a day, and I want to be able to be vulnerable and tell the truth, and for people to know that, we can have hard days. I have good days and I have really hard days, and sometimes the best I have is to go to bed and just not drink and drug that day. I'm attempting to add a video tool, I want to show some pictures to kind of give you a bit more about this story, and I'm hoping it works. But I want to talk today about, kind of my first addiction. My first addiction was food. So I was born at 9 pounds, 9 ounces, and, growing up when I was really little and kind of like a toddler phase, I wasn't overweight. But I began gaining weight pretty rapidly starting in kindergarten. Probably by the time I was in high school, I was approximately 300 pounds my sophomore year. And kids are really cruel. Growing up obese, I had kids in elementary school, kick me on the playground and tell me that I couldn't feel it because I was fat. Or they would make fun of me if I was at a public pool and say that, oh, fat can float. Or I had been to a country buffet and my family and I were walking out and some other people were walking in, and there were people saying things about myself as a small child. People were saying cruel things. And so I have a lot of experience with being made fun of and being bullied. In fact, it was so bad, my sophomore year, I was going to commit suicide, and I'm confident that if social media is around, I wouldn't be here today. There were like the popular kids that would back up to my locker. There was a bench there, and every day at lunch, I would go and grab books, and while my back was turned, I would have pennies thrown at me, candy thrown at me, and that happened for about a year, to the very end of that school year. I had already planned. I was going to take an entire bottle of Tylenol and exit this world, and thankfully I said something to my mom regarding a friend of mine that was going through something and what the next best action was, and she mentioned talking to an administrator, and thank God I talked to this administrator and she believed me and talked to these boys, and the bullying stopped immediately. But again, if it hadn't, I wouldn't be here. And my heart breaks, what these kids are going through these days and the bullying they experience, because I've been there too. Again, kids can be, or even adults can be mean. Having grown up morbidly obese, being about 300 pounds in high school, about my junior year, I lost 100 pounds on my own. I decided I wanted to get healthy, but my senior year, I found out that my dad was transferred, and having grown up in the same home for 18 years, it really kind of knocked me out at the knees, and I began eating again. So when I was I want to say I was a junior in college, I was about 400 pounds. And I made a decision, I was nearly 21 years old, to have the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. And that's the one where they staple your stomach and they reroute your intestine. And I lost all the weight. I got down to 160 in a year. I had some plastic surgery. I had a tummy tuck, or at that time it was actually a 360, because they also adjusted my back, and I felt great. I felt really good. I finally felt a part of, because being morbidly obese, and eating a box of brownies, or going to McDonald's, and that's when they had the biggie size, I would get 2, and I would sneak them into my backpack to go into my apartment to eat the entirety in one sitting. And having lost the weight that time, within 6 months is when I was roofied. So it was really devastating, because I felt normal, and additionally, I couldn't eat at my feelings, which I think is also why I began drinking immediately after that. I could no longer eat at things. So that is just a small part of my story. It's not very extensive. If you want more details, please let me know. If you have any questions, or if you want to message me, I'm here. I'm happy to support you, and just let me know what I can do. But thanks for watching.